Have you ever wondered why Ukraine matters so much to the United States? In the grand chessboard of international relations, every nation holds its own unique value. Ukraine, a country nestled between the East and the West, is no exception. This nation, known for its fertile plains, vibrant culture, and resilient people, sits at one of the most strategically significant crossroads on the globe. But why, you might ask, does this matter to the United States? To answer this, we need to delve into the realities of geopolitics. The stability of a region, especially one as pivotal as Ukraine, can ripple out and impact the world at large. When the balance is disrupted, the ripples can turn into waves, affecting economies, alliances, and even peace itself. The United States, as a global player, cannot afford to ignore such waves. Ukraine's stability is not just about regional balance, though. It's also about values, democratic values, to be precise. As a fledgling democracy, Ukraine stands as a beacon to other nations in the region, demonstrating that democratic governance is not only possible but also beneficial. This aligns neatly with the United States' long-held commitment to promoting democracy around the world. Furthermore, Ukraine's sovereignty is a test for international law and order. If a country's territorial integrity can be violated with impunity, it sets a dangerous precedent. The United States, as a founding member of the United Nations and a champion of the international rules-based order, has a vested interest in preventing this. Last, but certainly not least, Ukraine is a valuable partner to the United States. With deep-rooted historical ties and shared objectives, the relationship between these two nations is more than just strategic. It's a bond that transcends politics, rooted in mutual respect and shared aspirations. To understand the depth of this relationship, we must first dive into history. The relationship between the United States and Ukraine has a long and complex history. Our story begins in 1991, when Ukraine gained its independence from the Soviet Union. The United States, always a champion of democracy, was quick to recognize this new nation's sovereignty. This was the first step in what would become a vital relationship between the two countries. Throughout the 90s, the United States supported Ukraine's transition to a market economy. This was a tumultuous time for Ukraine as it grappled with economic instability and political transition. The U.S. provided crucial assistance, both financial and advisory, to help Ukraine navigate these challenging waters. As we moved into the new millennium, the relationship between the U.S. and Ukraine deepened. In 2004, the Orange Revolution swept Ukraine, a peaceful protest movement that led to significant political changes. The U.S. supported this democratic shift, reinforcing its commitment to Ukraine's independence and sovereignty. However, the relationship was not without its challenges. The 2014 annexation of Crimea by Russia marked a significant shift in the geopolitical landscape. The U.S., along with the international community, condemned the annexation, leading to a new chapter in U.S.-Ukraine relations. Since then, the United States has provided substantial military aid to Ukraine, helping the country defend its territorial integrity. This support underscores the U.S.'s commitment to Ukraine, a commitment that has remained steadfast despite changes in the U.S. administration. As we look back on this history, it's clear that the relationship between the United States and Ukraine has evolved over time. It's a relationship that has been shaped by shared values, mutual interests, and a commitment to democracy and sovereignty. It's a relationship that has weathered political shifts, economic transitions, and geopolitical challenges. However, it's also a relationship that is marked by complexity. The U.S. and Ukraine have navigated these complexities together, working towards a shared vision of a free and independent Ukraine. This historical context sets the stage for the present-day complexities of U.S.-Ukraine relations. Fast forward to today, what are the current dynamics of the U.S.-Ukraine relationship? The ties between the U.S. and Ukraine have evolved significantly over the years, and today it's a complex tapestry of political, economic, and security considerations. The relationship is marked by a shared commitment to democracy, but it's far from a smooth ride. Let's start with the role of NATO. Ukraine's ambition to join this North Atlantic Treaty Organization has been a point of contention, causing tensions not just within the country but also on the international stage. The U.S., as a key member of NATO, has been supportive of Ukraine's aspirations, but the pathway to membership is fraught with challenges. This has led to a delicate balancing act for the U.S., navigating between its commitments to NATO and its relationship with Ukraine. Next, we have economic ties. The U.S. has been a significant trading partner for Ukraine, with bilateral trade reaching multi-billion-dollar figures. The U.S. has also provided financial aid to help Ukraine reform its economy and combat corruption. However, the economic relationship has its own set of challenges. Ukraine's economy is still grappling with structural issues and corruption continues to be a major hurdle. But perhaps the most pressing issue is the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine. This conflict, which has its roots in historical and political complexities, has resulted in a humanitarian crisis and a geopolitical standoff. The US has been providing non-lethal aid to Ukraine and has imposed sanctions on those responsible for the conflict. However, the situation remains volatile with no clear end in sight. Throughout all these challenges, the US has maintained its commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The US has consistently voiced support for Ukraine in international forums and has provided assistance in various forms. But the relationship is not without its critics, who argue that the US could do more to help Ukraine. These challenges underscore the necessity of US involvement in the region. The US-Ukraine relationship is not just about geopolitics or economics, it's about shared values, about standing up for democracy and human rights. It's about ensuring a stable, prosperous future for Ukraine and its people. And that's why the US needs to continue its engagement with Ukraine. So why should the United States help Ukraine, you may wonder? Let's dive right into it. First and foremost, the United States has strategic interests in Ukraine. Ukraine is a bridge between the West and the East, acting as a buffer zone that keeps the balance of power in check. By supporting Ukraine, the US can maintain influence in the region and keep a watchful eye on the activities of other global powers. Furthermore, the US has a responsibility to uphold and promote the values of democracy worldwide. Ukraine, with its young democracy, is striving to establish a society where the rule of law, human rights and liberty are respected. The US, as a beacon of democracy, can provide the necessary support to ensure that these principles are ingrained in Ukraine's fabric. This isn't just about politics, it's about standing up for what's right. But let's not forget regional stability. The turmoil in Ukraine is a threat to the peace and security of the entire European continent. Remember, instability has a domino effect. It doesn't stay contained within one country's borders. By helping Ukraine, the US would be contributing to the overall stability of the region, preventing potential conflicts that could escalate into something much larger and far-reaching. Moreover, the US supporting Ukraine sends a clear message to other nations that might be thinking about undermining international laws and norms. It tells them that such actions will not go unchecked, that there will be consequences for those who violate the sovereignty of other nations. Finally, consider this. A prosperous Ukraine means a stronger European economy. And a stronger European economy is beneficial to the US. It's a win-win situation. So when you think about why the US should help Ukraine, consider these points. It's not just about geopolitics, it's about standing up for democratic values, ensuring regional stability, and promoting a prosperous global economy. A stable and democratic Ukraine is in the best interest of not just the US, but the entire world. We've explored the history, current scenario, and reasons for US involvement in Ukraine. But what have we learned? What are the key takeaways from our journey through the complexities of international relations? Firstly, we have understood that the relationship between the United States and Ukraine is not just about these two nations. It's about the balance of power and peace in the world. The dynamics of this partnership have far-reaching implications, shaping the geopolitical landscape and affecting countless lives. We've seen how the current scenario in Ukraine is a result of years of political and social unrest. It's a testament to the resilience of the Ukrainian people, who, despite the turbulence, continue to fight for their sovereignty and democratic principles. The situation is a stark reminder of the importance of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, values that the United States holds dear. Then we dug into why the United States should help Ukraine. We learned it's not just about geopolitics or strategic interests. It's about upholding the values we cherish, like freedom, justice, and human dignity. It's about standing by our allies and supporting those who share our ideals. And most importantly, it's about creating a world where every nation, big or small, has the right to determine its own fate. These are heavy topics, no doubt, but understanding them is critical. It's easy to dismiss these issues as distant or irrelevant. But in our interconnected world, every ripple can become a wave. The fate of a nation halfway around the globe can impact our own lives in ways we might not anticipate. In conclusion, we must remember that knowledge is power. The more we understand about the world, the more effectively we can engage with it. Whether it's through voting, advocating, or simply starting a conversation, every action matters. And it all starts with understanding. Remember, understanding leads to empathy, and empathy leads to action. So let's stay informed and engaged in the world around us.